Well, folks, it finally happened. Justin Trudeau decided to step down as Prime Minister of Canada, so maybe the Blue Jays will be able to start signing some players. Nobody on planet Earth seems to want to take their money, no matter how much they offer and beg on their knees. They're not necessarily even in the best position as a franchise to be splurging on big contracts anyway. At least it feels that way. So, what on earth is this team going to do? I mean, if you can't sign someone from the outside, at the very least, try and sign someone on the inside, the guys you already have, who've played in Toronto and are already a part of the team. How about Vladimir Guerrero Jr., your best player and someone who hasn't just played for the Blue Jays and only the Blue Jays up until now, but is also a literal born Canadian? This man could take over as Prime Minister if he wanted to. Seriously, I don't think there's an age limit to run like there is for president in the United States. I mean, you have to at least be 18, but I think that's it for Canada. Anyway, if Vladdy, a born and raised Canadian Blue Jays player who's also the team's best player, hasn't been extended yet, why not? Why not give him a contract? Well, they've tried. Nothing obviously has happened yet, and it's now being reported that the Red Sox are a real possibility to end up with him next year. Really quick, as always, if you're part of the 59% of viewers not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that button if you enjoy the videos, as Vladdy Jr. really upped his stock in 2024. I mean, the guy's never had a bad year in his career, but after his 2021 season, where he would have easily won MVP if Shohei Ohtani didn't exist, which should be its own reward. Whatever league Ohtani's in, with it now being the National League, there should be two awards. The Shohei Ohtani Award that goes to Shohei Ohtani, and then the MVP award that goes to not Shohei Ohtani. Vladdy was that great in 2021, and he's only been good since, but he wasn't as good as that year in 2022 and 2023. So he set such a high bar for himself that even if he put up the numbers he did the next two seasons, which were both good, he's looked down upon. But 2024, I think, proved Vladdy is still maybe a top 10 hitter in this league. I mean, he was awesome. Smacked over 30 homers, over 100 RBIs, hit over 320, and had a great on-base percentage. He did everything right. Oh, and he's also insanely durable. Like, up to this point, Vladdy's never been unreliable to play in his entire career. He's missed a total of 10 games in the last 4 whole seasons. So he plays, he hits, he's only about to be in his age 26 season this year. I mean, there's a lot to love about him, but also a lot of reasons why Vladdy will demand a high price tag. And I'm talking a $400+ million price tag, although some others are even saying he could get a $500 or even $600 million contract. That seems kind of nuts, but still on the surface, you think that shouldn't be an issue for a Blue Jays team that clearly has money to spend and isn't afraid to spend it. The issue is nobody wants to take it. Well, maybe Vladdy will, except he rejected their offer because it was, in his words, not even close to what I'm looking for. Vladdy also said, and by the way, credit to the Ebriendo L podcast, which is where he said all of this, but he also added that the Blue Jays offered him north of $340 million, yet they're not close, which is why I said his price tag starts with a 4, honestly. But when Vladdy says not even close, that seems pretty strong to say. Say $340 million is not even close to what he's looking for makes it sound like he wants at least $400 million. And it turns out that's actually what he said himself, that he's looking for at least a $450 million contract. So, I mean, hey, he's being transparent and very open about all of it. And it makes sense to go after that, whether you think it's too much or not, because when you see what these other players are getting, like Juan Soto, not that Vladdy is worth Soto's contract, obviously, but it definitely pushes his number up. But wait a second, the Blue Jays were willing to offer Juan Soto as much as the Yankees did, $760 million, but they don't want to offer Vladdy whatever it would take to get it done, which let's say is $450 million. $450 million over 13 years. Vladdy's going to be 26 this year. 13 takes him to age 39. That seems about the right length of a contract with that much money. So that's over $34.5 million a year. They don't want to give him that? Take it a step further. What about 500 over 13 years? That's about $38.5 million a year. Soto's making 51 a year with the Mets. I know Soto's a better player, but Vladdy's still young and great in his own way. And he's the Blue Jays guy. Like, he's been there, and I don't know. So I just found that interesting, the fact that they were willing to offer around 50 a year to Soto, but not even 30 a year to Vladdy, which is based off the offer he turned down of $340 million. If it was a 12-year deal or more, which it likely was for that kind of money, it wouldn't even be $30 million a year. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The simple fact that the clock is ticking, and it really does seem like either the Blue Jays extend Vladdy soon, very soon, within the next month and a half, or he's very likely gone after 2025. Vladdy has a deadline set for him and the Blue Jays to agree to a contract, and that deadline ends on the first full day of spring training in like a little over a month from now. Based off what we're hearing, based off what Vladdy himself with his own mouth said out loud with words, The two sides don't seem to be close. There's a deadline coming, and there's even more. Bob Nightingale recently reported some big stuff, and I know everyone likes to clown on him, me included, but he does have legit sources. There's a reason he has a job. All the times he's right and onto something, which is most of the time, we disregard it. We only remember the bad stuff because of two reasons. It's human nature, and we're all assholes. But anyway, on the topic of the Blue Jays, Nightingale reported two big things. One, another Blue Jays player, Bo Bichette, also in his last year before free agency, is said to be as good as gone with no real interest in returning, and that's according to friends of his. So that's not really good to hear if you're a Jays fan, but don't worry, it gets worse. So he says Vladdy Jr. and the Blue Jays are at least $100 million apart, with Guerrero seeking at least $450 million, but then adds that if Vladdy doesn't receive an extension by spring training, by that deadline of his, he'll test free agency, and if he doesn't return to the Blue Jays, according to friends of Vladdy's, he would love to be with the Red Sox, which is also potentially a reason why the Red Sox are currently hesitant on signing Alex Bregman, which would make sense. And I don't know about you, but to me, Vladdy has always seemed like a perfect fit for the Red Sox. He can't be more vocal on how much he hates the Yankees, for one. I mean, he literally said he'd die before signing with them. He's Dominican. The Red Sox historically have had a couple decent Dominican players, and they even have one now, Rafael Devers, Boston's current best player. That would be so cool. Devers at third, Vladdy at first. That is a sexy-ass corner infield if I've ever seen one. Now, will John Henry open his pockets large enough to pay Vladdy what he wants? That question is worth $400 million itself, but it really does seem to line up well. Also, factor in that the Red Sox seem to be a lot better built to win moving forward than the Blue Jays are. There are constant rumors of the Red Sox looking to trade their current first baseman, Tristan Casas, so maybe their ideal situation is to get Vladdy instead. This is in their plans, which is why they seem to be beyond okay with trading Casas despite all of his potential, because they know that they have a good chance at getting Vladdy. Who knows if that's part of it all, but overall, I could totally see this happening. Also, look at his career stats at Fenway Park. His numbers are better there than any other visiting ballpark, especially with the 46-game sample size. Like, his numbers are actually insane there. And being someone who watches the Red Sox a lot, Vladdy hitting nukes over the Green Monster is a very normal sight to me at this point. Him hitting there for half of his games every year for the rest of his career would honestly be the best case scenario for his numbers, and I don't really think there's much of an argument to that. But as of right now, the Blue Jays are the only team that can negotiate with Vladdy for a contract, and maybe they get something done, and all this conversation gets put to sleep. But again, with how things have been going with this franchise lately, on how many failed attempts at signing players they've had, the fact that they don't look to be very good moving forward, especially to other teams and even their own division, and add that to what we're hearing with Vladdy's situation, you'd be a fool to hold your breath on a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. contract extension. And if it goes the way we think and he enters free agency, I think the Red Sox make more sense than any other team in baseball. By the way, if you've ever wondered what it'd be like to see an AA meeting that has Fernando Tatis Jr., Tyler Glasnow, and Garrett Cole in it, Rob Manfred, yeah, of course you're here.
What the fuck are you doing down there?
Go check out the newest skit on my second channel, and thank you for watching.